A Project Baltimore investigation finds Maryland Superintendent of Schools was using an encrypted messaging app to conduct state business. As Chris Papps explains, many of those messages were set to auto-delete. That raises serious questions over transparency and whether the superintendent violated open records laws.
These messages were sent between Maryland Superintendent Mohammed Choudhury and high-ranking employees within the Maryland State Department of Education. Each one a conversation about work, everything from teacher assignments and state grants to government contracts, and each one sent through Signal.
It matters because government accountability matters, right? That is the core of this country.
Tina Williams-Caroma, founder and CEO of T-Secure, a Baltimore cybersecurity company.
There's a big concern around privacy.
Signal is an encrypted messaging app which allows users to set a timer to automatically delete messages. It's marketed as having privacy at its core. But when apps like Signal are used for government business, privacy comes at a cost.
There needs to be appropriate government oversight.
Mr. Superintendent, have you ever used the Signal application in commission of your job?
I have no comment. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Thank you. For my job?
Well, Project Baltimore obtained these screenshots of multiple Signal messages sent between late 2021 and 2022. They were sent by Mohammed Choudhury to at least one high-level employee at the Maryland State Department of Education. We are concealing their name. But when we questioned Choudhury about it at a recent state board meeting, he told us he never used Signal for work.
You've never used Signal for your job?
No. Thank you.
On August 3rd, Project Baltimore filed a public records request for Signal app data on the cell phone of Mohammed Choudhury. MSDE replied, "There are no documents or records responsive to your request." That's probably because the Signal app is not on his state-issued phone. This is his personal phone number, and in most cases, the public does not have a right to see what the superintendent is doing on his personal cell phone.
Does it concern you that the highest-ranking public education official in the state is using Signal to conduct state business?
Yeah, I think it's concerning to me that some of the information and records may not be accessible and discoverable.
Even if the superintendent were using Signal on his state-issued cell phone, the messages are encrypted, meaning only the people involved in the conversation can read them. And if those messages are set to disappear, they can't be accessed under open records law. Parents and taxpayers cannot see what is being said by their state superintendent about public schools.
Communication or means that makes those records potentially inaccessible.
In a statement this week, Choudhury told Fox 45 he used a Signal app to communicate personal messages with one senior member of his team whom he says was directed not to send work-related matters through Signal. But Project Baltimore obtained screenshots that show Choudhury was regularly communicating with multiple MSDE employees in Signal group chats. There are state laws regarding record retention, and using apps like Signal could lead to potential violations.
Yes.
Which is why Williams-Caroma says government organizations need clear policies on how employees communicate about taxpayer business.
I think it's incumbent upon the organization to outline what is acceptable and what's not. Leaders don't just get to act independent of oversight, like they're the public. Are the watchers of the watchers.
Project Baltimore reached out to Governor Wes Moore and other lawmakers, asking if they have concerns over Choudhury's leadership amid our recent reporting that certainly raises serious questions about transparency. We're still waiting to hear back, but keep in mind, Choudhury is fighting for his job. The State Board of Education is set to vote by the end of this month on whether to offer him a new contract. And we will be staying on this story. I'm Chris Papps, and this is Project Baltimore.
Fox 45 News is taking the pulse of the people. Do you think State Superintendent Mohammed Choudhury should get a new contract? So far, 93% of those who voted say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and click on the Pulse tab to weigh in.
I'm Chris Pabst. Thanks for watching. Here's another story to watch. Also, if you have a story idea, please send us a message.